Doechii and A$AP Rocky just ignited a war the industry never saw coming. One song, one collaboration, and suddenly a coordinated attack designed to erase her from hip-hop forever. The receipts are piling up, the bots are exposed, and the money trail? It leads straight to Drake's inner circle. Everybody thought this was just another feature drop, Rocky linking up with TDE's rising star, a smooth, jazz-infused banger called Robbery Superstar. Fans anticipated bars, critics expected vibes. That was the version everyone prepared for. But the moment that track hit streaming platforms, chaos erupted. Not applause, not viral dance challenges. No, a tsunami of hate. Burner accounts, copy-pasted insults, coordinated takedown attempts flooding every comment section within minutes. And here's the twist that's got the whole internet spinning right now. New leaked screenshots just surfaced showing group chats, payment confirmations, and influencer briefs, all timestamped before the song even dropped. This wasn't organic backlash. This was a calculated assassination attempt on Doechii's career, and the architects, they're hiding in plain sight. Let me break down exactly what we're looking at here, because this is where everything stops being theory and starts becoming undeniable reality. TMZ dropped the first breadcrumb 3 days ago, a screenshot from an anonymous insider, group chat titled Project Blackout. The messages? Chilling. If she drops on Rocky's album, we unleash the tsunami. Timestamp? 2 weeks before Robbery Superstar released. Coincidence? Not a chance. But fans online turned into full-blown investigators, and what they uncovered is straight mind-blowing. They started archiving every negative comment posted in the first hour of the song's release. Over 4,000 accounts. And here's where it gets wild. 78% of those accounts were created within the same 48-hour window. Brand new profiles, 0 followers, identical syntax patterns, copy-pasted phrases like overrated, industry plan, she doesn't belong here. That's not organic criticism. That's a bot army with a mission. Online detectives took this to the next level. They ran reverse image searches on profile pictures. Guess what they found? Stock photos, royalty-free faces purchased in bulk from the same 3 websites. They analyzed posting intervals. Every single burner account posted negative comments at exactly 17-minute intervals, like clockwork, like they were running off a script, because they literally were. Then the audio forensics crew showed up. Engineers started pulling apart the track's waveform, studying every layer, every sample, every hidden detail Doechii and Rocky embedded into the mix. And folks online swear they found something that changes the entire narrative. At 2 minutes and 47 seconds, right after Rocky's line, "Fashion killer, ain't no gun on me," there's a layered audio sample buried beneath the 808s. Slow it down. Isolate the frequencies. It's a 911 call. Panic in the voice. Shell casings hitting marble. Real, raw, unfiltered fear. Fans are saying Rocky and Doechii didn't just make a song. They staged an actual mock robbery inside the studio, capturing genuine adrenaline, real fight-or-flight responses in their ad-libs. If that's true, this track isn't art, it's evidence. It's a confession disguised as a banger. And it gets even crazier. Spectrogram analysis? Yeah, people went that deep. Reveals visual patterns hidden in the sound waves at 3 minutes and 33 seconds. When you zoom in and decode the frequency spikes, Morse code, and it spells out 3 letters, KDT. Vote K. Kendrick Lamar. This whole track is a double agent, a Trojan horse hit designed to rally the culture while exposing payola and sabotage tactics from the inside. Let's keep it real. Every luxury brand mentioned in those bars, that's not flexing, that's money laundering code. Princess cut doesn't mean diamonds, it means blood diamonds. Conflict stones moving through untraceable channels. Python bags aren't fashion, they're cartel courier bags used to transport cash across borders. Rocky's entire verse is a map of how dirty money flows through the industry disguised as braggadocio. Even the mixing choices scream intentional rebellion. Listen with headphones. Doechii's voice sits heavy in the left speaker. The have-nots, the underdogs, the ones fighting from the bottom. Rocky's voice dominates the right speaker, the haves, old money, established power. But at the chorus, they collide dead center. Symbolic wealth redistribution. audio activism, a sonic revolution hiding in plain sight, and most people streamed it without catching the deeper meaning. Fans swear this is the most subversive track released in the last 5 years, and honestly, the evidence backs it up. From the bot attacks to the buried samples to the hidden messages encoded in the sound itself, this isn't just music, it's warfare. Digital, psychological, cultural warfare. And Doechii is standing at the center of the battlefield, refusing to back down. But here's what really makes all of this click into place. Streaming analytics showed something bizarre in the first 72 hours. The skip rate at 31 seconds spiked unnaturally. Normally, skip patterns are random, scattered. Human behavior is chaotic. But this? Algorithmic, precise, too perfect. Data analysts traced the traffic back to IP addresses registered to a marketing firm previously hired by OVO Sound, Drake's label, the same firm caught manipulating streaming numbers during the Kendrick beef last year. They got fined, they got exposed, and now they're back, doing it again, this time targeting Doechii. Think about it. The timing, the coordination, the financial motive. Everything points to a shadow campaign designed to destroy her rise before she becomes untouchable. Because once she crosses that threshold, once she becomes the next Kendrick, the next voice that unites the culture, there's no stopping her. And that terrifies the gatekeepers, the execs, the power brokers who profit off keeping Black women in hip-hop boxed in, controlled, and silent. This is the moment where speculation becomes pattern, where conspiracy becomes investigation, and where one song transforms into a cultural reckoning that nobody in the industry can ignore anymore. Now let's get into the real motive behind all of this madness, because this is where the entire puzzle clicks into place and you start seeing the bigger picture nobody wants you to see. Doechii's rise didn't happen by accident. She's TDE, Top Dog Entertainment. The same label that birthed Kendrick Lamar, the same powerhouse that orchestrated the most devastating diss campaign in hip-hop history when Kendrick dismantled Drake track by track, bar by bar, until the entire culture shifted. TDE doesn't play. They build empires. In Doechii, she's their next weapon, their next generational voice, and that terrifies certain people. Drake's camp has been quietly bleeding influence ever since that Kendrick war. Streams stayed high, sure, but cultural capital? That took a hit. The respect shifted, the crown got questioned, and when you're operating from a place of wounded pride, you start moving different. You start seeing threats everywhere. And Doechii linking up with A$AP Rocky, a known Kendrick ally, someone who publicly supported K-Dot during the beef, that wasn't just a collaboration, that was a declaration, a signal, a message to the industry that said, we're building something you can't control. So what do you do when you can't compete creatively? When your last few albums got lukewarm responses and the culture is moving on without you? You sabotage, you destabilize, you deploy resources to make sure the next rising star gets buried before they become a problem. And that's exactly what leaked documents are now suggesting happened here. According to sources inside OVO's operations, a 6-figure fund was quietly approved weeks before Robbery Superstar dropped. The purpose? Media manipulation, influencer bribes, bot farm contracts. The goal was simple: flood every platform with manufactured hate the second that song went live. Make it look organic. Make it look like the people rejected Doechii. Make her label question her viability. Make radio stations hesitate. Make brands pull back. Destroy her momentum before she could build it. And it almost worked. For about 6 hours, the negativity dominated. Trending topics turned toxic. Comment sections became war zones. But then something shifted. The real fans started fighting back. They started exposing the bots. They started sharing receipts. They started streaming the song on repeat, not just because they liked it, but because they recognized what was happening. They saw the machine trying to crush another Black woman in hip-hop, and they said, no, not this time. But here's what makes the motive even darker. It's not just about Doechii, it's about TDE. It's about revenge. See, insiders have been whispering for months that Drake's team believes TDE masterminded the entire Kendrick assault from the shadows, that Kendrick didn't just wake up one day and decide to go nuclear, that it was a coordinated label strategy. Whether that's true or not doesn't even matter anymore. What matters is they believe it, and belief drives action. Destroying Doechii isn't about her, it's about sending a message to TDE. It's about saying, you came for our king, now we're coming for your rising queen.
Let's talk about the lock-in session. TDE's head, Terrence "Punch" Henderson, reportedly flew Rocky out to an undisclosed location for a 24-hour creative marathon immediately after Kendrick's surprise pop-up performance in LA. That wasn't casual. That was strategic. Sources say the mission was clear: craft a Trojan horse hit, the song that would dominate streaming charts while secretly siphoning revenue away from the major label infrastructure that's been exploiting artists for decades. A track that would expose payola while generating undeniable buzz. Art as activism, music as economic rebellion. And Rocky was the perfect partner for this. His fashion empire operates outside traditional music industry control. His wealth is diversified. He doesn't need label approval to survive. That makes him dangerous. That makes him uncontrollable. And when you put him together with Doechii, a woman who's been outspoken about industry exploitation, who's called out colorism, who's refused to play the respectability game, you get a collaboration that the gatekeepers can't monetize, can't manipulate, and can't silence. That's the real threat, not the song itself, the ideology behind it, the movement it represents, the shift in power it signals. Because if Doechii succeeds without bending to industry politics, every other independent-minded artist starts asking, why can't I do that too? And that question is worth billions in lost control. There's another layer people aren't talking about yet, the princess-cut diamond bar. Fans dissected that line for days. Surface level, luxury flex. But dig deeper and inside is a saying it's a direct reference to conflict diamonds illegally traded through entertainment industry shell companies. Rocky's been vocal about ethical fashion. He's called out brands using exploitative labor. And now he's calling out financial crimes hidden in plain sight, wrapped in platinum chains and magazine covers. That line isn't fiction. It's investigative journalism disguised as a hook. Body language experts analyzed the studio footage that leaked last week. Rocky recording his final verse. Pinch your cheek like grandma. Fashion killer, ain't no gun on me. Watch his eyes. He's staring at something off camera. Enhanced footage shows the reflection in the studio glass. An AR-15 resting on the mixing console. Unloaded presumably, but present. That adrenaline you hear in his delivery, that edge in his voice, that's real. That's what happens when you record art in the presence of the very violence you're condemning. It's method acting meets musical rebellion, and it's chilling. Meanwhile, Doechii's whispered sex on the beach line keeps getting misread as seduction. It's not. It's revenge fantasy. She's talked in interviews about execs who dismissed her, who told her she'd never headline, who said her sound was too niche, her image too bold. That line is about seducing those same execs metaphorically, making them invest in her success, then drowning their portfolios in sand when she takes full creative control and builds her empire outside their influence. It's poetic violence, and it's working. Everything connects. The sabotage, the motive, the money, the fear. This isn't random internet drama. This is a coordinated industry war playing out in real time, with Doechii caught in the crossfire. Except she's not just surviving, she's thriving. And that's what terrifies them most.
But here's the part that hits different. The part that strips away the industry politics and bot wars and financial conspiracies. The part that reminds you there's a real human being at the center of all this chaos. Doechii didn't ask for this. She made music. She wrote bars. She collaborated with an artist she respected. And in return, she woke up to thousands of strangers calling her trash, fake accounts attacking her appearance, bots questioning her talent, coordinated campaigns designed to make her feel worthless. Imagine that. You create something you're proud of, and within hours, the internet tries to convince you and everyone else that you don't belong. The leaked studio footage from the night before the release shows something most people missed. Doechii sitting alone in the corner of the booth, headphones half off, staring at her phone, reading comments, real-time reactions from a listening party leak, and you can see it in her face, the doubt creeping in, the exhaustion, the weight of knowing that no matter how hard you work, there are people with money and power who will spend both to destroy you just because you exist too loudly, too confidently, too unapologetically black and female in a space that still doesn't want to make room. That's somebody's daughter, somebody's friend, somebody who grew up dreaming about this moment, only to have it weaponized against her by faceless executives hiding behind algorithms and shell companies. That's trauma, real, lasting, psychological trauma, It doesn't go away just because the song eventually charts. The damage is done. The scars remain. And it's not just her. It's every woman in hip-hop who's watched this pattern repeat. Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Glorilla. They've all faced coordinated attacks disguised as fan debates or legitimate criticism. But when you peel back the curtain, it's always the same machinery, the same tactics, the same industry gatekeepers who profit off conflict while pretending their hands are clean. Doechii's mom gave an interview 2 days ago, barely publicized. She said her daughter called her crying the night the hate campaign started, not because she couldn't handle criticism, but because she recognized the pattern. She saw what happened to other women who dared to take up space, and for a moment she wondered if fighting back was even worth it. That broke my heart, because that's the goal. That's what they want. They want her to quit, to disappear, to make it easier for everyone by just stepping aside. But she didn't. She doubled down. She went live on Instagram. No script, no PR team, just raw honesty. She said, "Y'all trying to bury me, but I'm a seed. That's what seeds do underground. They grow." And the culture rallied, because authenticity always wins when given enough light. This isn't just industry drama. It's a reflection of how women, especially black women, are treated when they refuse to shrink, when they take up space unapologetically, when they demand respect instead of permission. Doechii's story is personal, but it's also universal, and that's why it matters beyond the charts and the streams and the bots, because every attack on her is an attack on every woman who's ever been told she's too much, too loud, too bold, too threatening to the status quo. And honestly, if they're this scared of her now, imagine how unstoppable she'll be once she gets through this. Now let's circle back to the receipts, because while we were talking about the emotional weight of this situation, more evidence dropped, and it's damning. Independent cybersecurity analysts, people went that deep, started tracking the financial trail behind the bot accounts flooding Doechii's mentions. They used blockchain forensics to trace cryptocurrency payments linked to influencer marketing campaigns. And guess where multiple payments originated? Wallets previously connected to OVO-affiliated shell companies. Not Drake directly, that's important, but companies within his extended business network. The kind of financial separation that gives plausible deniability while still accomplishing the goal. One forensic accountant broke it down on Twitter. This isn't speculation. These are observable transactions, small payments, $50 to $200 each, sent to hundreds of micro-influencers with follower accounts between 10,000 and 50,000. The brief posts negative reactions to robbery superstar within the first 24 hours. Make it seem organic. Use phrases like mid, overhyped, not feeling it. Don't tag Doechii directly. Just poison the algorithm. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's documented financial manipulation. Then there's the audio deepfake that was scheduled to drop. Fans intercepted a Discord leak showing a countdown timer for a fake unmixed version of the song designed to make it sound like Rocky's verse was AI generated. The plan? Release it at 3 a.m. when engagement is low and fact-checking is even lower. Let it spread before Doechii's team could respond. Sow enough doubt that casual listeners start questioning the track's authenticity. Except the plan leaked 2 hours before execution. Fans mass reported the accounts, platforms took them down preemptively. The attack failed, but the intent was clear. Destroy credibility, erase legitimacy, make people question whether what they're hearing is even real. Let's talk about the panning trick one more time, because it's genius and most people still don't fully understand it. Audio engineers confirmed that the stereo mix places Doechii's voice exclusively in the left channel for the first verse. Symbolic placement. Left is historically associated with rebellion, progressivism, the people. Rocky occupies the right channel, establishment, legacy, power. But watch what happens at the 1 minute and 30-second mark. They start bleeding into each other. Left voice creeping right, right voice creeping left. By the chorus, they're unified, center stage, equal volume. That's not an accident. That's a literal audio representation of wealth redistribution, of breaking down hierarchies, of dismantling the barriers between the gatekeepers and the culture. Every mix decision in this song is intentional. Every sound choice is a statement. And the 911 call sample?
Audio forensics experts isolated it, cleaned it up, enhanced it. It's real, not stock audio, not a sample pack, a genuine emergency call buried beneath the production. Some fans theorized it was from the Watts riot, others said it was from a modern police brutality incident. The truth? Nobody knows for sure, and that ambiguity is the point. It represents all of it. Decades of systemic violence compressed into a 3-second audio ghost, haunting the track like unresolved trauma embedded in Black culture itself. Tyler, the creator's involvement can't be ignored either. That single dart emoji he DM'd Doechii went viral when she screenshotted it without context. Fans immediately started speculating. Dart equals target, target equals mission, mission equals what? Odd future affiliates quietly mobilizing? Tyler's been vocal about industry corruption. He's built his entire career outside traditional label structures. If he's signaling support, that's not symbolic, that's strategic. That's a network activating. And networks have resources, legal teams, media connections, the ability to push back against coordinated attacks with coordinated defense. Streaming analytics paint another picture entirely. After the initial bot-driven skip rate spike, real listeners started doing something unusual. They weren't just streaming the song once, they were running it on loop. Playlists titled Protect Doechii started appearing across Spotify and Apple Music, fans intentionally gaming the algorithm to counteract the sabotage. By day 4, the song's completion rate was 89%. That's unheard of for a track that faced this level of coordinated negativity. It means real people are listening, really listening, and they're refusing to let manufactured hate dictate the narrative. Rihanna's involvement adds another mysterious layer. Insiders claim she walked out of the studio during an early playback session. No explanation, just left. Fans speculated it was creative differences, but sources close to the situation say it was the tropical girl line, Doechii's delivery, the phrasing. Rihanna reportedly recognized a reference to her own Rolls-Royce trunk, a specific detail only someone with access to her private life would know. If that's true, it means Doechii is either incredibly well connected or someone fed her insider information to include as proof of concept. Proof that she has access, that she knows things, that she's not just an outsider looking in, she's already inside. And that makes her exponentially more dangerous to people trying to keep secrets. Label insurance policies are being rewritten as we speak. Entertainment lawyers confirmed that multiple major labels are adding clauses excluding viral sabotage warfare from coverage. Think about that. The industry is so aware this is happening, so concerned about liability that they're legally protecting themselves from the exact tactics they're allegedly funding. That's not speculation. That's corporate admission disguised as risk management. Even the SEC is reportedly monitoring hip-hop lyrics now, not for explicit content, for coded references to stock-moving subliminals, for coded references to market manipulation, for financial crimes hidden in bars. If Rocky and Doechii embedded real intelligence in this song, actual investigative journalism disguised as entertainment, regulatory bodies might be forced to act, and that opens up an entirely new dimension of legal and financial consequences that nobody in the industry is prepared for. The deeper you dig, the more layers appear. This isn't just a song anymore. It's a test case, a precedent, a line in the sand that will determine how much power independent artists can seize back from the corporations that have controlled hip-hop's narrative for decades. And meanwhile, while all this chaos is unfolding around Doechii and Rocky, the ripple effects are starting to hit other corners of the industry in ways nobody predicted. Take SZA, for example, TDE's biggest star. She's been suspiciously quiet through all of this. No tweets, no Instagram stories, no public support for her label mate. Fans are divided. Some think she's being strategic, staying out of the line of fire. Others think there's tension behind the scenes. Maybe label politics, maybe jealousy over attention, or maybe, and this is where it gets interesting, she's quietly working on something bigger. Insiders whisper that SZA's next album is going to address industry manipulation directly, that Doechii's situation is going to become a reference point, a case study in her lyrics. If that's true, this whole controversy just became source material for the next major TDE release. And that means the narrative isn't dying, it's evolving. Then there's the Kendrick silence. He hasn't said a word publicly, but his producer, Soundwave, liked a tweet defending Doechii. Small move, massive implications.
Because Kendrick doesn't do anything accidentally. Every cosign is calculated, every signal is intentional. If his camp is quietly aligning with Doechii, that's not just support, that's preparation. That's coalition building, and coalitions don't form unless war is expected. Academics, the media personality who's basically the unofficial spokesperson for OVO talking points, tried to downplay the bot accusations on his stream last week, called it conspiracy brain. But his comments section turned on him instantly. Even his own followers started posting receipts, screenshots of the same burner accounts he claimed didn't exist, data showing the payment trails. He ended the stream early. That never happens. And the fact that even his heavily curated audience isn't buying the denial anymore, that tells you the evidence is too strong to ignore. Fashion brands are starting to distance themselves from the controversy. Rocky's partnership with Doechii suddenly got very quiet. No new campaign images, no press releases. Fans think the brand is scared of being associated with the robbery imagery in the song, that they're worried about liability, about negative press. But others think it's strategic silence, that Rocky's team told them to lay low while the dust settles. Either way, the financial consequences are already playing out in real time. Glorilla tweeted a single word 3 days ago: protect. No context, no tags. Fans immediately assumed it was about Doechii. The tweet got ratioed within minutes by bot accounts. The same copy-paste phrases, the same profile patterns. And that's when people realized this isn't just about Doechii anymore. This is a playbook, a repeatable strategy being deployed against any woman in hip-hop who gains momentum. Glorilla saw it. She recognized the pattern and she spoke up. That solidarity matters, because if they can isolate artists, they can destroy them one by one. But if the culture unites, that machine breaks. Radio play data shows another suspicious trend. Robbery Superstar is getting spins on independent stations and streaming platforms, but major market radio in cities like New York, LA, and Atlanta? Crickets. Program directors aren't touching it, and when asked why, they give vague answers about playlist flow and audience research. But insiders say the real reason is pressure from label reps. Quiet suggestions that playing the song might affect relationships, might impact future access to bigger artists. That's not coincidence. That's coordinated gatekeeping. And it's exactly what TDE expected, which is why they built the release strategy around streaming and social media from the start. They knew traditional infrastructure would resist. Even the Grammy conversation is heating up. It's early, but industry insiders are already debating whether Robbery Superstar is eligible for nominations. Some argue the controversy disqualifies it. Others argue the controversy proves its cultural impact. If it gets nominated and wins, that's validation. If it gets snubbed, that's ammunition for the industry is rigged narrative. Either way, TDE wins because they've positioned this release as a cultural moment that transcends traditional metrics. Sales matter, streams matter, but the conversation, that's worth more than platinum plaques, and all of this is still unfolding. New information drops daily, new theories emerge hourly. The story refuses to die because the stakes refuse to lower, and everybody watching knows this is bigger than one song. This is a blueprint, a case study, a war manual for how independent-minded artists can fight back against industry suppression. And that's why every new detail matters, because the outcome here sets the precedent for the next 10 years of hip-hop. What we're witnessing here isn't just celebrity drama. It's a fundamental shift in how power operates in the music industry, and the implications stretch far beyond Doechii, Rocky, or even TDE. This is about control. For decades, labels controlled distribution, they controlled radio, they controlled who got pushed and who got buried. But streaming changed that. Social media changed that. Now, artists can build empires without permission. They can reach millions without a single radio spin. And that terrifies the gatekeepers, because once you remove their leverage, their entire business model collapses. Doechii's situation is a test case. If they can destroy her momentum using bots, bribes, and coordinated media manipulation, they send a message to every other independent-minded artist. Step out of line, and this is what happens. But if she survives,
If she thrives despite the attacks, then the message flips. It becomes, they tried to stop her and failed, which means you can survive too. That's why this matters beyond hip-hop. This is a blueprint for how digital warfare gets weaponized against anyone threatening established power. Political campaigns use these tactics. Corporations use these tactics. Governments use these tactics. And now we're watching it play out in real time in the entertainment industry, where the stakes are high, but the legal accountability is basically non-existent. The SEC monitoring lyrics for financial crimes? That's unprecedented. That opens up a Pandora's box of questions. Can art be used as evidence? Can metaphor be prosecuted? Can bars become subpoenas? If regulatory bodies start treating songs like investigative journalism, the entire creative process changes. Artists start self-censoring, labels start lawyering every line, and the culture suffocates under legal paranoia. But there's another angle. If artists can use music to expose real crimes, real corruption, real exploitation, real financial manipulation without getting sued for defamation because it's just entertainment, then suddenly hip-hop becomes the most powerful investigative tool in media, more powerful than newspapers, more powerful than documentaries, because it reaches more people, it spreads faster, and it can't be ignored. That's the double-edged sword Doechii and Rocky just unsheathed. They've turned a song into a weapon, and now everyone's watching to see if the industry bleeds. The bigger conversation is about responsibility, too. When you have a platform, when you have millions listening, what do you owe them? Entertainment? Truth? Both? And when those two things conflict, which one wins? Doechii's walking that line right now, giving people a banger they can vibe to while embedding messages that challenge the systems oppressing them. That's art. That's activism. That's dangerous. And that's exactly why they're trying so hard to stop her.
So where does this go from here? Because the story isn't over. It's barely even started. Industry insiders are predicting 3 A&Rs lose their jobs by next week. Scapegoats for the bot campaign going public. Labels protecting themselves by cutting loose the people who executed orders from higher up. That's how it always works. The architects stay hidden, the foot soldiers take the fall. One influencer already deactivated their account. No explanation, just gone. Fans archived everything before deletion. Screenshots, payment receipts, DMs coordinating the smear campaign. That evidence isn't disappearing. It's being cataloged, organized, prepared for the inevitable legal battles coming down the pipeline. Doechii's streams are projected to spike 400% by month's end as the culture rallies. She's not a victim anymore. She's a symbol, a movement, and movements don't stop, they accelerate. But there's the darker possibility too, that the bots win, that the algorithm successfully buries the song, that casual listeners never discover it because the hate drowned out the art, that Doechii becomes a cautionary tale instead of a success story, that the industry learns they can still control the narrative if they just spend enough money and deploy enough violence. Which reality we get depends on what happens next, on whether people keep streaming, keep talking, keep fighting back, because silence is compliance, and compliance is exactly what they're betting on. Hit play. Stream Robbery Superstar on repeat, not just because it's a banger, because it's a battlefield. Comment #ProtectDoechii if you're riding with the culture, or stay quiet and let the suits win. Either way, this was the moment, the line in the sand, and you were here when it was drawn. Stay locked in. More coming, and I'll see you next time.